Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Films and Stuff. I'm Ethan, joined by Pete. Morning, Pete. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
It is doubleheader Saturday. Do you know what that means?
I think I do.
Just like in baseball, rather than having one streamer skip segment today where we both review one show, we are going to have a doubleheader, which means we have both watched and reviewed two shows, one of which we've both watched. So we've got some commonality, and I think we've got a lot to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we start with the big one or should we start with the small ones? What do you think?
Let's start with the small ones because I think we've got a lot to talk about with the big ones, right?
Makes sense. Okay.
So you had a show on Netflix called Dead Boy Detectives.
I did.
Tell me all about it.
Not a lot to say about Dead Boy Detectives. It was something that I had not heard of before previously. And to be honest, I'm not familiar with the two main leads. The cast is actually pretty talented. And I maybe wouldn't be surprised in the future if they're the type of English actors and actresses that have very significant, like cinema, like dramas or something, to their names, that they win some, BAFTA awards. I can see that there's some talent behind the kids, but I have to say the overall plot of the show is pretty weak at best. And I think that this is based off of a comic book. So maybe there's a cult following that I'm not aware of. But essentially, two boys, they're dead, which means they're kind of ghosts, living on Earth, and they've become detectives. So
Okay.
Is it a comedy? Kind of. Is it a drama? Kind of. Is it like action? It's not really action, but there are some special effects. And basically, every episode, someone will walk into their detective office and say, hey, I'm looking for a spirit. I'm looking for a ghost. I'm looking for a long lost one. And their role is to track this person down or help release their soul or something or another from the supernatural world. It's in a way a little bit Ghostbuster-ish, where there's this crossover between the real world and the supernatural world. The two leads themselves, who are probably in their mid-20s, they call themselves teenage boys, but I think that, by the looks of them, I believe that they're probably like in their mid to young 20s. They've got some clairvoyancy, they're able to solve mysteries. There's also a witch involved, or kind of like a grim reaper-ish witch involved, which hasn't been fully developed at the outset, but you can see that this is going to be a theme that's obviously going to run through the first episode or the first season or however long this is going to run, where they always have to, obviously avoid this person or, try to be, I guess the main point is, since they are actually dead and they haven't gone to what we would consider heaven or hell, that once this Grim Reaper character catches them, they're going to disappear from Earth. And they're kind of enjoying their life on Earth, although it's not entirely clear why they enjoy their life on Earth. It's not like Vampire Diaries where they're living this, salacious, luxurious, party lifestyle. They're only interacting with but one human for the most part. It's not even clear like how they take care of kind of like day-to-day tasks like eating, showering, buying clothing, if people can see them or not see them. It's more whimsical than anything. You can't think about it, or you can't overthink about it too much. I gave it a skip only because there's just not enough in here. It's not scary. If you're someone who likes a true horror show or like something that's more of a like thriller supernatural, I don't think that this probably is hardcore enough for you to really jump out of your seat over. If you're looking for a comedy, I don't think it's got enough like ha-ha laughter for you to really be a fan about. The overall plot, I think, is just a little bit weak. I wouldn't say it's hard to follow. It's pretty easy to follow, but there's just not enough, I think, juice coming from this to support, two teenage dead detectives trying to solve these mysteries. And now they've got, like one human being, who's kind of like a joint venture partner with them. So it's on Netflix. I understand why Netflix greenlit this. I mean, it probably didn't cost a whole lot to make. It fills a new genre. The Netflix strategy. They're trying to push as much content as possible. And, whatever pops will pop. It's possible that this is a show that, by the end of the first season, kind of just like Umbrella Academy, it kind of finds its footing and it develops this really cult following. And that's, I think, one of the risks of these things is that when I saw Umbrella Academy and probably Stranger Things as well, I wasn't like immediately sucked into them. They both had kind of their flaws from the beginning as well. And the premises were kind of shaky. This is really the same way, but to be honest, after 2 episodes, I just don't have the heart to continue over a potential payoff that it gets dramatically better. Generally, it hasn't been perceived so badly, but I don't think it's got huge volumes behind it. So that is Dead Boy Detectives, and I have to, unfortunately, give it a skip.
Oh, boo.
Boo.
All right. Well, going along on that theme, unfortunately,
Yeah.
I had
Oh.
a new show on Hulu called Interior Chinatown. So your mileage may
Interior
vary.
Chinatown.
It may come on to Disney Plus. It is an Asian focused comedy. So it's
All
got
right.
an Asian American lead or
Yeah, Jimmy
so forth.
Yang, the
Jimmy O
comedian.
Yang, who most
Yep.
people will remember from his breakout role in Silicon Valley as Jin Yang.
Oh, yeah, Ronnie Chang as well.
And Ronnie Chang is in there, who most people will
Yep.
know from his stand-up or from his Daily Show, from the Daily Show.
Yep. That's right.
Okay, so the premise is kind of weird. So hold on for a second here. Imagine you're watching a stage production, but it's on TV. And
Okay.
that's what this show kind of feels like. And it feels like a police procedural, although it's an incredibly meta take on one. It looks like Jimmy O Yang's character, who is a waiter in a Chinese restaurant in Chinatown,
Okay.
when he sees this police procedural play out in front of him, it looks like he's watching TV, although it's happening live in front of him.
Okay.
Okay. And it's called Interior Chinatown, but it's spelled INT period Chinatown because it's the
Oh.
stage direction that you would get on a script.
Oh.
So, like when Jimmy's on screen, the screen is very warm, the colors are very warm. But when the stars of the quote unquote TV show or police show are on screen, it's a very cool blue.
Did you pick that up right away?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Oh.
very obvious. Like they do it on purpose, and it's kind of to show you that he's the audience as well, and he's watching a TV show, but he's not because he's also on the TV show. It's really odd. In any case, the premise of the show is that he sees a woman get kidnapped near his restaurant while he's in the alley, but he can't help her because the alley doors are locked.
Hmm.
And later we find out that that woman gets murdered. And so he has to he's deciding whether he wants to help solve this case or help the police solve this case or not. And, his brother has gone missing. His family's kind of fractured because his brother went missing. He's this waiter, but he thinks he's destined for greatness or more. I don't know. It's a little too weird for me. It's
Okay.
good, but it's not a comedy at all in the sense like there's nothing that makes you go laugh out loud at all. And like if it is a comedy, it's like a dark comedy.
That's strange because there's 2 very famous comedians in it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's It's really difficult for me to explain, and I know I'm being very vague, and I wish I could explain it better, but it's one of those few shows that I think you actually need to watch and decide for yourself. It's one of the
Okay.
few rare shows. It's a skip for me. It's just a little too weird and a little too meta for me. And we've talked about it before. I don't want to give it the time that it probably needs.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these shows nowadays, we can't afford to give it the time because, we're all busy. There's 1,000 different streamers, there's 1,000 different TV shows. Some of
Yeah.
them are great, some of them are bad, some of them are potentially great. Interior Chinatown could potentially be great, but I don't know if I want to sit through 8 episodes to decide if it is good. After two, I was out.
I mean, I think I can understand from a creative perspective that they want to tell a story and that they don't want to give all the goods up front. And they're trying not to, like a writer, do the riff like all the way at the beginning of the song and give all the goods away. I feel that frustration, but at the same time, I think you can still have a story that takes time to develop, but have character development or have something at the beginning that's compelling enough to keep your audience interested or intrigued.
Yeah.
You know?
Again, I'm not saying it's not interesting or not intrigued. I was intrigued with this meta take on a police procedural, but just not enough to justify watching it, another 8 episodes beyond the two that I saw.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I'm really surprised it's not funnier, considering the
So did I.
cast.
When I saw that the two guys were on there, I expected it to kind of be hilarious, but
Yeah,
unfortunately,
like a Asian buddy cop movie, right?
and I
Like
think it would
Chips,
be
but
really good as that, right? Because
yeah,
but yeah, it didn't pan out.
yeah. Like it would have been a little bit funny if, I mean, I don't know who'd be the more senior one, but I mean, you could do it like, oh, there was kind of like a mix up and they're actually like partnered with each other. Both of them like totally inexperienced, right?
Yeah,
Both of them kind of like through like some Asian outreach program. And it just happens that they got, matched up with each other through, like some mix up and they've got to like try to manage everything themselves and go through like their adventures, right? They would have been very funny together.
yeah, I agree. In any case, interior Chinatown, it's a skip. Moving on to the second part of our double header.
Yeah.
I'll take up the first one.
Do it.
It's a show called The Cage on Netflix.
Oh, I've seen this before. I've seen the trailers for this before. Is it good?
It's actually called La Cage because it's French.
Oh.
It's ostensibly about MMA slash UFC slash cage fighting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so, spoiler alert, it's a skip.
Oh,
So it's only 5 episodes, so that's the good thing. So it's not like it's a
short.
huge time investment. But the reason it's a skip for me, I'll tell you why. So first of all, the story is about a guy who's in the amateur circuit, who's training at this gym. He's training super hard, but he's not where he wants to be in terms of success. Like he has all these like I don't want to say delusions of grandeur, but like he has all these dreams that he wants to be like the number one MMA guy. He wants to be the number one UFC guy. He wants to, be like this famous fighter. He's not where he is in terms of success. Like he's doing a few bits of amateur boxing. He's got some success there, but he's not really
It's not winning
progressing as
enough.
fast as he'd like
Yeah.
in the gym. He's
Okay.
got a deadbeat mom at home who's dating like this scumbag, and she's always asking him for money, that sort of thing. She doesn't support him. She doesn't, give him help, that kind of thing. And so he's thinking of quitting fighting. And that's because he has a heart to heart with the coach at the gym. And the guy was like, listen, you may be good in amateur, but like even the best of the best don't necessarily succeed. And he just tells him, look, I can tell you the lie, which is you're going to win with just perseverance and you're going to make it. Or I can
Yeah.
tell you the harsh reality is that even the best of the best don't make it.
Yeah.
So he has like this crisis of faith and he decides he's going to quit. And on the day he quits, as you'd expect, a champion boxer comes in from a rival gym and challenges someone to fight. No one wants to fight. And so the guy thinks, you know what the hell? I'll do it. He fights. And of course, this amateur boxer slash MMA fighter, who's like a third of the size of this pro boxer and pro fighter, somehow wins.
Whoa, no way.
Yeah. And, the cliche we've all seen. He gets a lucky hit in.
Right.
And it then sets up effectively what's going to be what I imagine is going to be the crux of the main series going forward, which is a proper official title fight or a rematch between these guys, right? Because this was just
it's boxing or not MMA? Which is it?
I keep calling it boxing. It's MMA.
Okay.
It's just this typical, like super cliched trope that we've seen everywhere before, where you see the champion who's like this big jerkwad fight against this underdog, one third the size amateur. But it's not like the Rocky fights, right? Like Rocky, at least you saw Sylvester Stallone was bulky, he was big, he had skill. He just was looking for the right opportunity. In this case, it's like the equivalent of like a high schooler running track against Usain Bolt.
Are these guys are the actors like jacked? Like, do they look like they're actually like MMA guys, or they just look like they're actors?
The underdog does not. The jerkwad of a champion kind of does.
Yeah.
So look, let me tell you some of the good things. First of all, amazing soundtrack. Really good soundtrack.
Oh.
Really great visuals and set design. It feels real. It doesn't feel like you're just watching a TV show. It feels like you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
It's pretty badass. I actually like that. But so far, everything I saw in the first 2 episodes were so filled with cliches and so filled with tropes. I kind of see where this is going, and it's not my bag.
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit boring, and it's a skip for me. And you've got I'll tell you. So you've got the underdog main guy who's like undersized. Then you've got the big jerk of a guy who's the champion, who's his opponent. Then you've got like this relatively out of shape big guy at the gym who's somehow training with these guys, but he's the comic relief. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like all the stereotypes that you expect, you see them there.
It doesn't seem like then like a serious Rocky type movie if it's got too much stuff in it for everybody, right?
It's got so I don't think it's trying to be a serious Rocky type movie, but at the same time, like it's a drama. It's not a comedy. It's not a thriller. It's not a suspense. But at the same time, you and I kind of know where this is going.
Yeah. It's going to be a big title fight. He's going to be way down, eyes shut. They've got to cut his eyes open, and eventually he'll win at the end. Or he'll lose, barely lose, and the crowd will be behind him, and he'll be like the new people's champion anyway. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
Maybe his mom also dies like the day before the fight.
Or yeah, well, exactly. Sorry. So like his mom's boyfriend, who's this jerk, when they set up the fight, he's like, I want you to go down in the second round. I'll bet against you and I'll make a ton of money. You know what I mean? Like all of those cliches that we would expect. So, meh.
All right. So we've had 3 reviews, 3 skips. Dead Boy Detectives on Netflix, skip. Interior Chinatown, Hulu, skip. La Cage, Netflix, skip. Can we redeem this at the end of our doubleheader?
I freaking hope so. Well, actually, spoiler alert, yes, we can.
Yes, we can. We went a little bit off schedule, did we? Or advance of schedule. And we both watched Day of the Jackal with Harry Redmayne. And Day of the Jackal actually has a long history.
It does. It was a book, and then a movie, and then a remake, and now a TV series.
Now a TV series. Because the Jackal itself, as far as I'm aware, was originally a fictional book
Yeah.
And so just let's go through the lore of the Jackal. The Jackal was an assassin. Jackal, of course, was their code name. And the Jackal was known as a super assassin. And they were characterized by their ability to change their look, to change their identity, to be like a chameleon and to fit in kind of any crowd, any situation, and, slip in, slip out, assassination, and no one knew their identity, right? Until they were eventually tracked down. So Day of the Jackal, I guess, it's a reboot, but it's kind of based on the same story, starring Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah.
What did you think of that casting at the outset? Eddie Redmayne is previously, I don't think he had another role like this. He's Fantastic Beasts, Les Miserables. He's a very, can I say, delicate British actor.
Again, this sounds like a negative, although it's not meant to, but I think that is the right way to look at it, is that he did look frail, he looked fragile, he looked delicate. He didn't look like your typical action star, or he didn't look like your typical murderous villain. I'm not saying he wasn't good at it. I'm not saying he couldn't be good at it, as the show proves. But the roles that I've known him for was The Theory of Everything and the Harry Potter series. And in both of those, he plays relatively quiet, introverted, almost like inwardly facing people. He doesn't play someone like this.
Yeah. I would also say, and this is a compliment, I almost considered him, like, as an actor, too good for a role like that. Like, he always seemed like he was very, like, intelligent. Like, he was not someone who was in the tabloids, for like dating such and such. He never got into, like, he never had any drama around him as an actor, right? He was a very serious, almost Tom Hanks type serious actor, taking serious roles and, playing them very, very well. I don't think anyone questioned his acting chops. He just, to me, seemed like a little bit too good, that I would never have considered him for a role like this. But I loved him as an assassin.
Yeah, I thought he was great.
Like, I thought he was a fantastic sniper type assassin.
Yeah.
I did not think, and we've had this discussion so many times, and maybe we should have a separate episode about it, the alter ego discussion, right? Batman, Bruce Wayne. While I thought he was a fantastic Jackal the sniper, I thought he was I don't want to say he was not a compelling Charles, the husband and father.
Yeah, but man, when he's on mission and he's not playing the assassin, where he's playing like the guy who's pretending to be someone else, even when he's not in makeup.
That's true. When he's on the phone being a husband, then he's pretty normal. But I felt like the whole I don't want to say it was creepy. It wasn't creepy, but I didn't feel any connection. It seemed to be very contrived. He was living in a very remote place in Spain with a Spanish wife. I really didn't feel like a connection between them. I didn't feel it at all, which isn't, I don't think, detrimental to the show, but it's just an observation that I thought that was absolutely a weak part of the show, that I did not fall for that part at all.
Look, I think this is a problem we've had several times before, right? I think we saw it in The Lioness, where we're not tremendously big fans of a show that tries to give you more depth of a character by showing you their personal family lives.
Yeah. Maybe that's the issue, is that we didn't need to see that much.
And if we did, it needed to be a little bit more competent.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of his mother-in-law and brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I think that if you think your sister is married to a cheater, okay, that there could be something in there, and it does add a layer of complexity because now you're dealing with a personal issue while you're dealing with professional issues at the same time. I think
Yeah.
that could add an interesting layer to like the complexities of your job.
Yeah.
What I don't like is the stupid brother-in-law trope, which is this guy is an idiot. He's kind of a know nothing. He's kind of a do nothing.
He's an unemployed handyman
Yeah.
whose goal is to buy half a bar.
Breaks into his brother-in-law's safe room, finds a ton of money, finds all these alter egos and passports,
Yeah.
finds guns,
Yeah.
and then decides, yeah, this is the guy I should steal from.
Yeah.
It's the epitome of stupidity. And like, I don't
Yeah.
like that the mother-in-law was doing all these things. You know what I mean? Like, it's too many cliches. We've all seen this before. The mother-in-law doesn't approve of this guy. They all wonder where he's getting his money from. They find out, and instead of running away or informing the police
Yeah.
immediately, what
Yeah.
do? They decide that, oh, well, yeah, you're doing a good thing by helping your family by taking his money.
I found the breaking into the vault to be very unrealistic,
Also horribly unrealistic. I
but
don't think that they should have been able to break in. I don't think his brother should have been able to do any of
yeah.
that because his
Yeah.
brother was an idiot.
But I felt that Charles, the Jackal, didn't have a very good cover story for his family. Like it
No,
would have
he
been
didn't.
better if he would have been like straight up and said, look, I'm a biologist, and whenever there's a chemical spill, I have to go or like, I don't know, like a virus or something, I have to go clean up. I'm a something like that, right? And this is my lab where I do testing. You have to stay out of it. You could be exposed to something. I mean, like, come up with something better than like hiding everything from his wife. I mean, anyway, that's what I thought was a drawback, and maybe the only drawback. I loved him as the Jackal. Did you like the storyline? Did you like the backstory?
So look, again, I don't mean to make this sound bad. The
Yeah.
storyline seems relatively generic, right?
Yeah.
He's contracted out to kill someone who's endangering the lives or the livelihoods of billionaires.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal. Because I don't think that's the point. I think the point is they put him in situations where we can kind of see how kick-ass he is as an assassin.
Right. That's right.
So the target is almost irrelevant.
Yeah.
I think in the book it was Charles de Gaulle, right? The president of France.
It was Charles de Gaulle initially.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the point is that he's going after someone who's thought of as unapproachable or ungettable.
Right.
Right. And that's the whole issue.
Yeah. Yeah. So first it was a German politician, which was, I mean, kind of relatively straightforward actually it wasn't straightforward. I mean, you saw him, you thought it was straightforward where he went into an office space and the campaign office.
Yeah.
And then it seemed that instead of killing the guy, he wanted to wound his son to lure the politician to the office, which I think you can approach this from two perspectives. One, either that's very, very cunning, or it's really making a lot of assumptions outside of your control and making your job even more complicated, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you've got a target, why not just go over to the target? Why are you assuming that the target is going to, anyway? So that's where we see his incredible, shooting skills. And then, of course, like you said, his second target is to, take out this software developer who's apparently launching a software that's going to reveal the source and transparency of, ultra wealthy people.
Fundings, yeah.
Yeah. And you show, his dedication, how he manipulates everybody, men, women, right? Kind of like everybody in their path.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I meant. Like the social engineering and the social stealth, as it
Yeah.
were, I thought was fantastic. I
Yeah.
thought that stuff was really good. Like where that scene in the not the opera house, but in that warehouse, not warehouse either. Where he hides in the vents.
Yeah. Like in the ceiling of the upper house.
I guess it was the opera house. Yeah. So
Yeah.
where all of that and like the lead up to that and like how he romances like well in advance he had romanced the guy who works there and
Yeah.
sets it up for months or weeks in advance. I thought that was all fabulous. I thought that was really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And actually, even though that's all slower paced stuff, I liked seeing that. It's not
Yeah.
all action sequences
Yeah.
every second. It's not,
It's, I
yeah,
agree. The details are very clever. Like even how he was like sharpening his credit card and you're wondering what he was doing. He was making the credit card a weapon so he could slash the guard's throat, like at the
yeah,
end, right?
yeah, absolutely. So good. And then I loved the gunmaker scene.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. Oh, let's talk about the other side of this equation. Lashana Lynch, the MI6 agent who's chasing after him.
Oh,
I figured you'd have some problems here because, again, it's the same problems that I have.
I am not a tremendous fan of Lashana Lynch. Talented as she may be as an actress, I feel like she's being cast or thrust into roles that don't really fit her. And that's from Marvels and now this. I believe her as a MI6 agent, but I don't like her hard edge. And I really wish that we would have a more empathetic, female MI6 officer. And I've ranted about this for a while, and I don't want to come across as, the get off my lawn type of rant, but I don't understand why creators of a show need to have a female character who is basically shirking her duties as a mother, as a wife, and somehow justifying it as I have a really important job. And if I'm late, she even said it. If you're late to your class, the lecture starts late. If I'm late, people die. And I'd be really offended, to be honest, if my spouse said that to me. I mean, maybe that is true in some cases, but I mean, as a professional, you show up on time, irrespective of what your job is. I mean, if you're a garbage collector, you show up late for your job, the garbage doesn't get collected, right? I mean, yes, she has an important job, but I don't think that that's a case for not being a great mother and not being a great wife. And I don't think that that's a necessary component of showing that she's good and dedicated to her job. She can still be fantastic at her job and still be really dedicated to her daughter, right? She can still be a great wife and supportive without, showing that she's always, rushing off and leaving the night before something or coming back late or something or another. I wish that they would put a softer edge on, some of these agents because I don't think I don't know if it's not realistic, but I don't think it sends a good message that if you're going to take this role, you just have to be a generally bad spouse and parent. Then have her be the typical single cop living in the small 1-bedroom apartment with just a dirty bed and mattress and smoking and drinking, and they've only got their job to live for because they're divorced and they never see their kid. Okay, put them in that role.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that trope. I think we've seen it a lot. I think we're seeing it more often, and I think it's you know what? And no matter how you cut this argument, the problem is that critics will see that as like a very sexist thing to say. But you know what? I don't care. The point is that you're not showing me that she's a strong, independent woman by her being a jerk. You can't tell me that you're good at your job and being bad as a parent means you are a strong, powerful woman. Or a strong, powerful
Yeah.
character, period. Like
Yeah.
that also applies to men, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's because they focus on her characters. So she has kind of like this young white dude working underneath her. We don't know anything about his personal life, right? We
Yeah.
don't show him struggling with a girlfriend saying, "Oh man, I know we were going to go out tonight. I know I was going to meet your parents tonight. I can't do it because my boss made me pull all these army files." We don't see that from him, right? She's got a superior, right? We don't see him struggling with his wife or his son or anything like that. She's got the other lady superior. We don't see her struggling at all either. We only see Lashana struggling to marry the two. And I think the worst part is, and I have no sympathy kind of for Larry, right? The brother of Norman.
Yeah.
But she absolutely destroyed. I mean, she is responsible for killing that girl.
Yeah.
She put the girl in jail. Okay, the girl had a heart condition we didn't know about, but she put the girl in jail only for leverage. Didn't tell the mother, blackmailed the mother to give up, Larry, right? The mother ended up getting killed, by Larry for the betrayal, right? She lied to Larry, which it's hard to justify saying, okay, she promised a criminal something that the criminal knew that he shouldn't believe, but she still lied to the guy, right? I mean, we don't really see her acting in an honorable way either. And I feel like it really diminishes. And maybe that's why I don't really like her as a character, is because I don't like her characters and I'm having problems separating, who's probably a very, very nice individual from some really repugnant characters that she's playing.
Right.
Similar to Zoe Saldana in Lioness.
It's exactly the same as Zoe Saldana.
Who prior to Lioness, I thought Zoe Saldana was like the sweetest, nicest woman in the world, right? She always played such great characters. And you watch her in Lioness and she's totally repugnant, right? She had the daughter who was in a car accident. She's got the husband who's like totally alone. She's out there, manipulating people and killing people, all in the sense, all for the greater good argument, right? But what is the greater good? And I think that there's just such an ugly message, and I'm not sure where this message is coming from. Like, if the creators are just trying to say, well, this is what the military industry complex is like, or if they're trying to be provocative, if they're like secretly trying to undermine the industry, it's really not clear. But I definitely feel like they're creating kind of repugnant characters for us to root against.
Yeah.
So apart from Lashana Lynch and the MI6 angle, I like the political intrigue. I love Eddie Redmayne as the Jackal. What do you think of his backstory in the military?
Surprising. I like that he was the sniper. I guess if we're going to do spoilers, I'm surprised he earned on his unit.
So let's go through the steps. He was a fantastic sniper for his British, military unit.
Yeah.
They went on some, weekend leave to Greece or something. And some guy just openly says, "Hey, you're a British sniper. If you ever want to make more money, I've got a job for you to kill someone for my boss." Right. And he just kind of laughs it off like, ha, ha, ha. Somehow calls the guy and says, "Okay, I'll take the job," which seems not just incredibly risky, but really outside of his moral compass at the time. I thought that happened too fast. I thought it would have been better if he would have had a phone call with his mom who's dying of cancer, maybe.
Something that motivated him to do it, right? Like he got coerced into doing this.
Or his buddy's like, "Look, dude, this is a bad guy." If they would have had a mission, for example, and he would have been, "Okay, like the target's in sight." And they said, "No, we don't have clearance to shoot the guy." He's like, "Well, what are we out here for? We've identified the bad guy. We're putting ourselves in harm's way, and we're not being able to take out the bad guys." He's like, "Fine, I'm just going to take out the bad guys as a vigilante." But I thought that for 10,000 euros, I thought that escalated too quickly. But then he went back into character where his unit slaughtered that wedding party, which was terribly sad. I was actually a little bit impressed by him saying, like, obviously he's not going to turn them in. That's absolutely against the code of conduct, and he's probably not going to win that, and he'll be ostracized forever. I thought the way that he set that up really showed where he became the Jackal.
Right.
And I thought that after he did that, then he'd be like, well, look, I've got nowhere to turn now. I kind of did the right thing, but in doing the right thing, I did the wrong thing. And now the only thing I can do is be my own vigilante, and I'll only go after bad guys, and I'll get paid for it. And I thought that would have been a better justification for how he turned into the Jackal. And then over time, he's like, well, I'll just kill anyone for money.
Right.
But I thought that would have been a better first step for him, saying, hey, I took things into my own hands to kill bad people, and now that's going to be my job. I'll be a vigilante. I'll do it for money. But I'm only going after people who like I'm comfortable or bad. You want to hear my hot take?
Yeah, I definitely want to hear your take.
All right. So at the end, we saw that Grant or Glenn or something like that, he actually saves that guy, right? By pulling him off the truck and saving him when he kills, the rest of the unit, right?
Exactly.
So we know at some point, either they go separate ways, and my hot take is one of two things. Either Grant or Glenn becomes Norman and becomes the guy who's making the weapons, or, and I know this doesn't make any sense, but Grant or Glenn dies and Eddie Redmayne actually becomes him.
At the end of the series?
Yeah, like what I'm saying is that, so the Eddie Redmayne character we saw, right, in the military, maybe he dies and the Jackal himself is his buddy, Grant or Glenn, because that guy.
Right. So Duggan isn't actually Eddie Redmayne.
Yes, it's his buddy, because Duggan was a really righteous person. And that's why I'm so surprised that he became this assassin. But his buddy was always out for blood. His buddy was always out for like, yeah, let's kill people for money. Like, we're doing it anyway.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
It
like,
doesn't make sense with
twist. Yeah, I mean, they'd have to work out how to make that twist, but that'd be right. So everyone's looking for Duggan, but Duggan's the actual, whatever.
Yeah, right. Duggan's actually dead somehow, or Duggan is just living a very quiet life. But it seems like what the show wants us to think is that Charles the Jackal is originally Duggan.
Yeah.
And we don't know how his buddy died or where his buddy is at this time.
Yeah, exactly.
But somehow they kind of like walked or hitchhiked themselves out of Afghanistan. They were not even AWOL from the military. They were presumed dead, although there's no bodies to support that at all, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was an IED, so they weren't able to identify anybody, so you wouldn't know it was those two who were missing. The show, though, I think we both loved.
Yeah, so you were wavering, right? You weren't sure if this was going to be a mooch or if this was going to be a must subscribe.
I mean, I was wavering. It's true. I mean, it's definitely fantastic. I mean, a must subscribe has a very, very high threshold, but when I think back to all the other things that I was watching, whether it's Yellowstone or Dune or something else, which of these would I pay money to watch like the next season of, or to watch like one more episode of? And I think it would be the Jackal. Like I was always very, very excited for the next episode. I mean, even though his family situation, I think, is weird and annoying, I have to say, I do find it a little bit compelling. At one point, I thought his wife kind of flipped and was like, well, look, he doesn't do good things, but he's a good husband. He's a good provider, and I'm going to stand by him, right? Like when she came to Talon with the stuff and pushed him in the wheelchair, I thought that for a while in Day of the Jackal, that his wife kind of made that flip. And she was like, they were like at the lawyer's office, and she's like, nope, I got to get out of here. And then she went to Talon and she brought the mask and she watched him apparently put on the whole getup and she pushed him in the wheelchair and blah, 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 right? Like that was a big step for her. There may be a point where she's united behind the dude. And even if she needs to take out her brother or take out her mom, and she says, fine, it's me and you and, our kid, and I'm going to support you, thick or thin. That may be where this goes.
Yeah. The brother's got to go, right?
The brother's got to go.
He knows too much, and he's
a
already
loose
shown
cannon.
that he's going to make bad decisions, and that when push comes to shove, I think his brother's going to turn on him. So I think he's going to take care of his brother.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do it with his wife's blessing.
I think so too. In fact, the wife may do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be great.
The question is, does the mom go too, or does the mom fall into line?
I think she falls into line, especially if the wife does it. If the wife does it, then she gets the mom to fall into line.
Yeah. And then I think it's going to be kind of one of these happily ever after.
Well, yeah, or sets up for season 2, right? Where she's kind of helping him. Or she's complicit at least.
Yeah.
Because I got it. So that's another thing we should talk about. So we haven't seen the final episode. Does this get renewed for season 2? Or does this become a mini series with him going down at the end of the episode?
I think they keep it open. And I think we're going to see a lot of parallels between this and Yellowstone. Not to bring in another spoiler alert. But I think there's going to be, I think they're going to keep it open where he gets away. He gets out of Talon. I think we're going to see a play out that we just described. The wife is going to take care of the brother, and they're going to be one big happy family. But then you're going to see something at the end, and it's probably going to be this team in New York. So first of all, the team in New York is probably going to get rid of the kind of this. Oh my God!
That's the handler, right?
The handler in Talon, and then I imagine that it's going to end with someone sent from this New York group, like looking over his villa with like binoculars or a telescope or something, while the family is like celebrating outside by the pool, thinking like, okay, it's over. We're safe. That's it. We're never going to have to do that again. Right. And the New York group has sent the sniper to be like, hey, you took 20 million of our money. We're getting it back, or we're going to kill you one way or another. Right. And then season 2 is open to, is it going to be renewed? And if it is, he's going to get away from the killer that they sent. And he's going to say, hey, sorry, I got to do one last mission. I'm going to have to track down who this was, and I'm going to have to eliminate them myself. And it's going to be kind of like the Jason Bourne, he's going to have to go back and wrap up the loose ends himself in New York and kill everybody in that group. And then Lashana Lynch can be like, okay, like now it's leading back to, we couldn't track the guy down, but now it's leading back to this thing. Are they connected? And, then she works with her U.S. counterpart and so forth.
The other way they could do it, and I don't know, I actually think I prefer your way better, but the other way they could do it is he gets captured and MI6 is like, well, he's too valuable an asset to throw in jail. He's going to work for us. And Lashana Lynch becomes his handler.
I mean, that seems 100% like in real life. Doesn't that seem realistic?
But that's my point, is that MI6 wouldn't waste talent like that, right? If they had a sniper who could kill someone from 4 kilometers away.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they'd just be like, all right, you're going to come work for us now. You continue living your life, but when we call, you better be there or we're going to go after your whole family. And we know exactly where you are and where your family is. And anytime we need you, Lashana is going to be your handler. You're going to be her asset. I think it all depends on how the next episode ends. I like your version better. I like that because it still leaves him quote unquote running, and they can always do that ending of mine at the end of the second season.
So the end of the second season may combine this, right? Which is, you're right, where he kind of comes face to face with Lashana,
Yeah.
right? And they make like an implicit deal, like, okay, if you take out this group,
right,
I'm willing to look the other way and say you died in the carnage. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those type of deals, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe she's the one who goes kind of rogue and says,
Yeah.
fine, now you're going to be my asset person.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's still a leak in MI6, right?
Yeah.
We think it was the black guy, right? He was kind of.
Yeah. That's what I thought as well.
You think that's
OC.
right?
I think it might actually be the woman boss.
Yeah.
It has to be someone they haven't even shown on screen as someone who's potentially the leaker.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's got to be. It should be more complex, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's too easy to pin it on the black guy and then have it be the superior. I feel like it's got to be a little bit more complex than that. Like maybe it's even the guy who's doing the internal investigation.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah.
Right. This is like the old, I don't remember what the US spy was. David Hansen or something.
Oh, yeah. The FBI agent
right?
who was investigating the mole. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was the guy who was actually investigating, and
yeah,
he was the mole himself. So it could be that guy, and maybe at some point, like the Jackal gives that information to Lashana and says, hey, this is how we'll trade. I'll give you your mole and you give me my freedom.
Yeah.
And she says, fine, I'll take it.
I love it. These are the kinds of shows that I really like watching. They're nuanced enough.
Yeah.
They're not overly complicated. The action sequences and the setups are thrilling.
Yeah.
It's not fast paced. It's deliberate.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Pete, can I run one more by you?
Yeah, please.
What if it's her husband? He's just this academic, nerdy college lecturer, right? Just walk with me. He's way overqualified for his job, right?
Yep.
He's super, super nerdy. He's somehow attracted to her. I mean, come on. The guy said it himself. How many college professors are attracted to someone who's so passionate about like guns and firearms and working in what if he's the cover and he's secretly like, I don't know, putting a device on her phone and he's actually the mole?
I mean, it'd be a hell of a twist.
That would, I think, be the better twist. That they first go after OC and they turn over OC's life and it's not him. Then they go after, the lady. It's not her. And, Lashana's going bonkers over, well, it's got to be someone. And it actually turns out to be closer to home. That would also be bonkers.
Yeah.
But I think that's why, like you said, I think that's why we like this show, is that there's strings to pull. There's theories to pontificate over. There's hot takes to be had, right? Like a good show has good, subtle B and C plots that aren't like shoved in your face, but there's a little bit of intrigue. I'll be really disappointed if the leak is OC. It's just too obvious. It's too boring, right? It needs to be more nuanced and complex than that. Yeah. And that B plot really needs to be working with that New York team. And that New York team needs to be someone that bloody, bloody, blah, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's an interesting show to have on. This is on Peacock, right?
Mm.
This is, I think, a very, very good show for Peacock. I mean, I can't even think of any other show on Peacock, but certainly if you're going to get Peacock, I guess this is probably a must subscribe for Peacock, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Wow. Bravo to Peacock, I must say.
Yeah.
Not an inexpensive show to make.
All right. So must subscribe for Day of the Jackal?
Must subscribe, Day of the Jackal for sure.
Perfect. I think that's our fourth must subscribe on Streamer Skip this year.
Oh, it is rare, but it happens. All right. What do I have next week?
So next week you are on Max to watch a TV show called The Franchise.
What is that about?
I think if this is the show that I think it is, I actually think it's a comedy, which is a parody on superhero shows. So I actually had very high hopes for you.
Oh,
Because I think they're parodying the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what it takes to make a series on or a movie that fits into an established universe.
oh,
I think this is that show. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is that show. And I've got a show which I am actually looking forward to on Netflix called Monsters.
oh, yeah. Menendez
The
brothers.
Menendez brothers. That's right.
Okay. Pete, you want to give our YouTube jazz and social media creds, and then we'll sign off.
Absolutely. You can tweet at us at FNS Podcast, DM us on Instagram at Films and Stuff Podcast. But as always, the best thing you can do, like this video, leave a comment below, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell.
Could not have said it better myself. Ladies and gentlemen, please do yourself a favor and watch The Day of the Jackal on Peacock. Pete and I have loved it. We think it's a must subscribe, and we hope you enjoy it as well.
Indeed.
Tune in next week. We will have more reviews and hopefully some recommendations on the stream or skip segment of the Films and Stuff podcast. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. Have a great week ahead.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.